Hi, my name is James Shepard, and today I want to explain why I am glad that Visa and MasterCard are raising their rates. That's right. I'm going to explain why I'm glad they're raising their rates. So, if you haven't been following payment news very much lately, then you may have missed a very important news story, which is that right now sources say that Visa and MasterCard are considering raising the interchange fees. Now, I would like to point out a couple things about this story that annoy me, and then I'll talk about why I'm glad that it's happening. Number one, I don't understand why Visa and MasterCard are considering anything. I thought those were two totally separate companies, right? Because there's no collusion, there's no monopolistic tendencies, right? Because they're competitors. Right. So, sure. Anyway, it's just interesting to me that, so in America, for those of you who don't understand our economic system, we have a free market capitalist economy, which is great. And it is predicated on competition, okay? So it would be, for instance, illegal if all of the auto lots in your area got together and decided to charge 30% more for cars. Because, see, if they all did that and they all colluded together to raise all of the prices of cars, well, then you wouldn't be able to buy a car unless you paid 30% more. See, what's supposed to happen is if one place raises their price, another place might say, maybe we won't raise our price because then we're going to steal business from that place. That's called competition. Competition is healthy. That is what free market capitalism is built on, is competition. So when the two mega companies who basically control the whole market almost, other than a little sliver for American Express and Discover, when they get together and decide we are raising rates, that's not okay, and it's not supposed to work that way. But anyway, so that kind of frustrates me a little bit. And again, I mean, I'm not an attorney. This is not legal advice. And of course, they didn't come out with their joint press statement or anything. But, it's just interesting how all the news stories include that Visa and MasterCard are considering this. That's interesting. Number two, I love how the spokesman for, I think it was Visa, said, well, we're not raising the rates for the business owners. We're just raising the interchange rate that we charge to the merchant banks. And then it's up to them whether or not they choose to pass that cost on to small business owners. Like, really? That's your pitch? It's not going to, it may affect small business owners, but it's not our fault. I mean, we're just raising our prices. We're raising the cost. So, I mean, if, these places choose to pass that on, I mean, that's up to them, yeah, sure. Okay. Of course they're going to pass it on. That's, ridiculous. That's like saying, I own a bicycle shop, and that's like the big company saying, well, we're raising our cost of bicycles by double, but I mean, it's whether or not the bicycle shop owner passes it on to the consumer. I mean, that's up to them, well, of course they're going to pass it on. You just raise the rate. Obviously they're going to pass it on. So yes, it's going to affect small business owners. It's the interchange rate. Anyway, now, obviously, you can tell I'm a little frustrated by their actions and what they're doing. Why am I glad that they're doing it? I'm glad that they're doing it because I feel like they're playing right into our hand in terms of cash discounting and surcharging. Because, my goodness, if you're not talking about this already with business owners, you are missing a huge opportunity. If you are selling merchant services, you need to grab the news article from the Wall Street Journal or wherever. There's some from payments.com. A whole bunch of different ones have it. Take that article and show that to business owners right off the bat. Hey, take a look at this. I don't know about you, but I feel like enough is enough. This is ridiculous. How long are they going to raise rates? Like they just got done trying to settle an antitrust lawsuit that, is about them overcharging merchants to the tune of $6 billion. And their response to all that is, let's raise our rates higher. It's insane. And so it's time to fight back against that. And again, whether your bent is cash discounting or surcharging, it's time to fight back against that and to band together and say, look, enough is enough. Merchants have been paying these fees for way too long, and it's time to fight back. It's time to educate consumers about these costs that are being passed on to the business owners and that the business owners need to pass on to the consumer. And so again, I think whatever your particular bent is on this, I think this is a good thing. I think if you are against surcharging and cash discounting and you're just with traditional processing, again, something for you to talk about. Absolutely. But again, something for you to be aware of. This is a shift in the market. This is a big news story. It's something merchants are going to see. It's going to affect their pricing. They're going to see higher interchange rates. and it's going to affect it. I saw some amazing graphs and charts on I think it was the Wall Street Journal had some charts of like the interchange fees and how they've gone up over the decades, and then the card association dues and assessments, things like that. And it's just amazing to see this, just Visa and MasterCard together, this identical curve going up. Just an amazing example of kind of blatant collusion between two mega companies, for one, and also it's just a blatant example of anti-competitive behavior and how the rates are just going up. And really, there's nothing small business owners can do about this other than pass the cost on to the consumer. That's really the only thing that they can do. So I'm happy Visa and MasterCard are doing this, because I feel like our industry right now, again, and I realize maybe I'm on an island, I'm the only one that feels this way, but I feel like our industry, at least the agents, we're kind of in a little bit of a war with Visa and MasterCard right now. And I realize there's obviously a symbiotic relationship. We're selling card acceptance, they're providing card acceptance, but I think really there's a little bit of a battle going on here, both legally and otherwise, with surcharging, with cash discounting, with the concept of passing the cost on to the consumer. And our whole pitch to the business owner is, it's time to stand up to Visa and MasterCard. It's enough. Enough is enough. Like you're already charging triple, quadruple what you're charging in other developed countries. We as U.S. business owners have had enough, and it's time to push that agenda. And so when Visa and MasterCard, in response to that agenda, comes out and says, let's raise our fees higher, I applaud that, because that's going to help us in our conversation with small business owners. My name is James Shepard. I hope you have a great day.